Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another installment of the Oklahoma Hedge Night. If you enjoy the channel output, I would be very grateful if you would like and subscribe, comment, help feed the algorithm a little bit, help us develop what we've got going on here. I've been doing a bit of work lately on videos about equipment, what I use and why. Tonight I would like to discuss pole arms. Pole arms I predominantly use playing HEMA harness fecting. I haven't really delved into the Boo-Hurt dual scene side of pole arms. That may happen eventually. But generally speaking, the most common things you find in the HEMA community for pole weapons are going to be spear, poleaxe, partisan, and it's going to be depending a lot on the context of whether you're fighting unarmored or armored, what tools you use. Do a little bit of fighting in the SCA occasionally, along with SMA, EMP, various groups, and the standards for equipment are very different in each of them. So I end up owning a lot of weapons that are just unique to each of these environments. Now for unarmed games, this spear is rattan hafted with a Purple Heart Armory spear tip on it. And it tends to be used, it's very flexible, it's very forgiving on the thrust, and this is really good when playing with light amounts of protective gear, more fencing with spears than necessarily outright fighting with them. It's a fun weapon to play with and doesn't require near as much protective gear. I tend to own things in functional pairs, and this is a Purple Heart Armory spear that's a little over 1.25 inch diameter, hickory shaft, their standard spearhead, and then the butt cap type device on it. These are very much the gold standard for for rubberized type weapons, haft durability, and general use. These are strong enough to be used in armor, a little difficult on scoring from time to time, and they're great for fighting unarmored with people that are wearing a little more protective gear, have a greater deal of control. Maybe you're going to integrate grappling into what they're doing. Tend to own these in functional pairs, that way I can teach, or I can have a weapon available if somebody doesn't normally get to do this kind of fighting. This is a Dominus Gladius boar spear. These are a lot of fun. Got their butt spike on this, so I can use it for either Marazzo type partisan play or Ghiavrina work like you see out of Fiore di Libri. It's very flexible. Wouldn't really want to use this against an armored opponent. It's just not going to get the, it's not going to make the degree of impact necessary for them to know it was hit, or to let the marshals be able to assist in the calling. The haft is some hardwood pole replacement from the local hardware store. It's done pretty well, a lot of fun. This is fun for fighting in groups where you're allowed to cut with the spear tip. It's great in melees where you're dealing with skirmishers who are lightly armored. Yeah, I'd say if they had a version of this that was more rigid, I would definitely be interested in it. This pair of heavy spears are set up like Jaeger stock. They're tipped at both ends for harness fecting. These are my heavier spears. They're a little bit longer. They're over 6-7.5 feet tall. These have a lot more reach, a lot more presence. The hafts are again from Purple Heart Armory. They're octagonal haft, one of their poleaxe hafts. And the spear tips I use on these, I pretty much got all of these from Theory and Arms, Hal Siegel. We tip these with hiking stick tips to make sure they don't go through certain visor parts of helmets and make them a little bit easier on the male armor. I tend to use these for fighting in the context of armor is worn. These are virtually indestructible. They've had hard lives. I have killed one head on these, but it took a lot of years to do it. This is a dedicated pair of spears made by Purple Heart Armory, Darkwood Armory, and these are very much laser pointers. You need something that can get between the gaps in a later armor and try to find some way into the male or into an unarmored spot. These are very much the tool to use. Scott makes these hollow. They don't tend to break the way the other spearheads do. They're fast handling, and these have got to be the most fun I have ever had fighting spear. For those that have seen me do most of my spear fighting videos, these are the weapons I'm using. This is another locally sourced haft on a easily 8-9 foot spear. This is set up with tip again I got from Therian Arms, and I got from Therian. The haft itself is from Mikado Armory here in Tulsa. It's a hickory hardwood. I use this a lot of times when I'm fighting in melees and I need some reach. It's decent weapons, had a hard life, but it continues to hold in there. Poleaxe is not my strongest suit, but I'm trying to overcome that a little bit. This is my older poleaxe on a Purple Heart Armory spear shaft. Dominus Gladius Lucerne hammer. This disc is from Purple Heart Armory, and the butt spike again is Dominus. It is a light, fast handling poleaxe. I like fighting it spear with benefits. It's quick. Lets me use both the dag and the Q fairly efficiently. This heavier one I just put together, it has a haft made by Lodestone Iron Works in Oklahoma City with another Dominus Gladius butt spike and head. This is their newer model. Again, I got these from Therian. This one's definitely heavier, has a better presence. It balances very nicely in the hand. And I think over time I'm going to come to like it fairly well. It's going to take a little bit of work. It's not the way I've played poleaxe, but I think I'll end up adapting into it. I want to make one more add-on on this. Lodestone just did a Ecranche shield for me. I've been looking at the Gladiatoria effect book and use of historic shields, and in Gladiatoria the combat begins with the combatants armed with sword, spear, dagger, and the Ecranche shield. These are normally, most commonly by our area, used for jousting, and would be held into place like this, just secured onto the armor as a target. But these are also seen used in foot combats, which is why I went ahead and had the gauge strap put on it and handle put on the back. In armor, it allows a little bit of extra protection, give me a little bit more cover while I try to either use the spear or coming out of the plays with the spear being thrown, discarded, or no longer in use. I'm still able to fight using sword. My move has been towards trying to get to equipment that is less hampered by reenactorisms and more representative of historic pieces. it's going to shorten their lives in a number of cases. They're just going to have a tougher time instead of being used like something that's been strictly sport optimized. But that's been one of my goals in the study of all this, is to try to get as close to materials, equipment, and understanding of what was used during the late 14th and early 15th century. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.